If you're thinking of planting a garden this year, you're not alone, as the gardening industry has grown during the pandemic. However, if you are new to gardening in the North Country, there are many factors growers should consider before simply planting plants in the ground. The first, the North Country's growing zone. According to the USDA, this ranges due to the region's location between Lake Ontario and the Adirondack Mountains. But what does this mean?
Because of our zones, because our temperatures are colder, our growing season is shorter than in other parts of the country. But we have about an average of 160 days. So that's the average period of time between the last spring frost and the first fall frost.
The next question you may be asking is, when can vegetables be planted in the ground? This depends on the plant. Right now, growers can plant cold season plants such as spinach and radishes. Warm season plants come next, which include beans and shouldn't be planted until mid-May. Lastly, transplants or cold sensitive plants such as tomatoes or peppers should wait to be planted until Memorial Day or early June. Another important step to complete for transplants is hardening the plant itself.
Whether you start them inside or whether you buy them from a store, you can't just come home and plop them in the garden. They need to be hardened off. They need to be gradually introduced to the outdoor environment. Otherwise, again, you're going to set them back or possibly kill them, because even if they're outside at the garden center, they're packed really tight together. They're getting constant water. There's not a lot of wind. There's not bright sunshine. Bringing them home and putting them in the garden is going to expose them to all of that. And it's not going to be good. So you have to gradually introduce them over the course of about 5 to 7 days.
Obviously, we have to water our plants every day, but what about different nutrients that plants should be given?
A lot of the commercially bagged products out there nowadays have fertilizer in them. So if you're using those, you don't need to do anything else. If you're gardening directly in the ground, there's a couple of options. You can add organic matter to your soil, which adds nutrients. It adds microorganisms. It adds micronutrients. It enhances the soil. So any type of organic matter, peat moss, composted manures, compost are all good to add to your soil.
If you are new to gardening, here are some basic tips to leave with.
The biggest tip I'd like to start with for beginners or for people who haven't gardened a lot is to start small. Don't prepare a huge area. A garden the size of about 10 by 10 is perfect to start with. And if you don't have a space to garden in the ground, you can do container gardening. Most vegetables will do very well in containers. So that's an option too. And that's a good way for people to start, because then you're not making a huge commitment.
The Cornell Cooperative Extension of Jefferson County also offers soil testing and other gardening classes and programs. For ABC 50 Now in Watertown, I'm Isabella Colello.